In today's lesson, you will learn how to solve harder inequalities. You'll have been successful today if you can solve inequalities. Some previous knowledge you will require is you should be able to solve equations and you should be able to identify an inequality. Okay, so we're going to solve two-step inequalities. Now, this is almost identical to solving equations, but we need to be aware that it's not an equal sign anymore. In example 1a, we have a greater than sign, so it needs to remain a greater than sign throughout the question. Now, if you think back to solving two-step equations, so if this was 3x plus 1 equals 4, then we apply BODMAS in reverse. So we look at anything adding or subtracting the x term, then anything dividing or multiplying, and then we look at powers or brackets around the x term. So we can see that there is a 1 adding the x term, so we're going to start by subtracting 1 from either side, leaving us with 3x is greater than 4 take away 1 is 3. Now we look at anything dividing or multiplying the x term. 3 is multiplying it, so we are going to divide each side by 3. That leaves us with x is greater than 1. Notice that my sign remained the same throughout all of my working. Now we have x on its own. That is us solved inequality, so we are finished. In part B, we deal with anything adding or subtracting the x term. We can see 8 is subtracting the x term, so we're going to do the opposite and add 8 to either side, leaving us with 2x, and our sign this time is greater than or equal to 4 plus 8 is 12. 2 is multiplying the x here, so we're going to divide each side by 2. That leaves us with x is greater than or equal to 12 divided by 2 is 6. We have x on its own, so we've solved that inequality. In example 2, just similar examples again. So first of all, we're looking for anything adding or subtracting the x term. We have a plus 1, which we're going to subtract from either side. That leaves us with 5x. This time our sign is greater than or equal to 21 take away 1 is 20. 5 is multiplying the x, so we'll divide each side by 5. That leaves us with x is greater than or equal to 20 divided by 5 is 4. In part B, we look for anything adding or subtracting the x term. 2 is subtracting the x term, so we're going to add 2 to either side. That leaves us with 7x, and our sign is greater than or equal to 26 plus 2 is 28. 7 is multiplying the x term, so we'll divide each side by 7. That leaves me with x is greater than or equal to 28 divided by 7 is 4. Okay, adding another level of difficulty, we're going to add in these brackets. So remember, when we solved equations involving brackets, we began by multiplying out that bracket and then it just becomes a two-step solve from there on. So by breaking the brackets, we're going to multiply 2 by x to give me 2x and 2 by plus 1 to give me plus 2. We don't multiply the 8's not inside the bracket. We stop multiplying when the bracket closes. Our sign this time is greater than 8. This becomes very similar to example 1 and 2. We look for anything adding or subtracting the x term. 2 is adding, so we'll subtract 2 from either side. That leaves me with 2x is greater than 8 take away 2 is 6. 2 is multiplying the x, so divide each side by 2. That leaves me with x is greater than 3. And in part B, again, we're going to begin by multiplying out the brackets. That's 3x plus 3 times 2 is 6. Our sign is less than 12. The 6 is adding the x term, so we'll subtract 6 from either side, which leaves me with 3x is less than 6. 3 is multiplying the x, so we'll divide each side by 3, which leaves me with x is less than 6 divided by 3 is 2.